The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Paul, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the 1990s, we've had a bipartisan foreign policy dealing with the Middle East. And that has been essentially our goal was to remake the Middle East. And quite frankly, I don't think it has gone very well. And I think it has served our interests badly and actually has motivated countries like Iran to get nuclear weapons. And I don't want, Iran to get a nuclear weapon. I don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, but I think our approach is entirely wrong. Since the 1990s, and especially in this decade, we've spent over $1 trillion over in the Middle East using force to impose our will in that region. It was supposed to help protect our oil. People were worried about our oil. Oil used to be, back then, $25 a barrel. Now it's $125, $130, even up to $140 a barrel. And we never seem to stop and pause and ask questions. Maybe we're on the wrong track. Our policy over there now was designed as a consequence, especially since 9/11 and Osama bin Laden. Yet Osama bin Laden has written very clearly what he would like to do to America. He would like to spread our military around to weaken us. He would like to drain us financially. He would like to build up anti-American sentiment around the world. He would like to divide us here in this country. And 68% of the American people now want us out of there. They don't even want us in that war. And the Iranians are an enemy of the Osama bin Laden. We weaken the Taliban, which was an enemy of Iran, and we virtually have given southern Iraq to the Iranians. But we never seem to pause and say, could we be on the wrong track in our policy? But we march down the same road. The same rhetoric we hear constantly in the media today is the same rhetoric we heard in 2002. About our march to war in Iraq, and this never seems to stop. And for all the reasons we went into Iraq, it turned out it didn't turn out they were true. It was all on false assumptions. And here we are talking about all these threats and intimidations. And if you talk about diplomacy, it talks about surrendering. But when we had the missile crisis in 1962. Kennedy went to Khrushchev and he talked to him. And he says, on condition that you get the weapons out of Cuba. No, if he'd have said that, there would have been no discussion and we wouldn't have taken the missiles out of Turkey and we wouldn't have had a resolution of that. But today we say, yes, we'll talk to the Iranians on the conditions that they stop doing what is legal under the NPT. They are legally allowed to enrich uranium. And yet we say, we will only talk to you under these particular conditions. We need to put what we're talking about with Iran into certain perspective. They do have a right to enrich, which has been never mentioned in the media. There's never been proof that they have violated any IAEA resolutions, have not been found to be in violations. In the last year, there were 9 unannounced examinations in Iran, and they were not found in violation. And there's no evidence, according to our CIA, that they have been working actually on a weapon. Does this mean that they might not want to? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that there's no evidence. And here, we are so determined, it almost looks like we're obsessed with this, that we're willing to risk World War III in order to prove that maybe someday the Iranians might want or seek a missile. They're surrounded by nuclear missiles and weapons. The United States is there, Israel's there, the Soviets are there, the Pakistanis are there, the Chinese are there, and the Indians are there. They haven't invaded a neighboring country, and yet their thought means that we have to close them down.
Would the gentleman yield for just one comment?
Not at this point. This means that we are marching on to the next adventure, which we can't afford, which is foolhardy, doesn't make any sense, no more sense than the invasion of Iraq, and we are suffering the consequences. We need to take a breath and say, why can't we talk to somebody who doesn't even happen? Recently, there was a dissertation that said the reason we must attack them now is because they're so weak. Is that the reason we as Americans must attack a nation?